Hey, what's going on, everybody? Don Martino here from XTRACT Media, sitting with my good buddy, Mr. Jose Espinel. We're coming from you, or not really from Star Wars Celebration, because we didn't go to London. It's a little bit expensive to do, if you haven't noticed. I don't know if any of you have checked airplane prices these days, but it's pretty hard to do. But we're going to cover day one opening panel anyway, and Mr. Jose Espinel is here. As I said, Jose, how's it going today?
I am amazing. I'm glad to be back. It's been a while since we've done a video together. I'm glad that we're starting with Star Wars Celebrations, because oh boy, do we have a lot to get into.
We sure do, my guy. A lot more than I think a lot of us were anticipating. I mean, there had been rumors floating around for sure for a little bit there that there were going to be movies dropped and things of that nature, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But the other part of it was that Mandalorian episode that happened was a little bit divisive this past week, so a lot of us were unclear about what was going on behind the scenes there at Lucasfilm, and it just felt like things were off to a lot of us. I know some people liked the episode, and that's great. For me, I was on the side that didn't, and a lot of other people felt that way, and a lot of people mostly agreed that something felt off, like there was something going on behind the scenes. And there have been rumors swirling around this week as well about Favreau not being happy with his job right now and not caring anymore and things of that nature. And rumors, you know, so take with a grain of salt, obviously, but these are things that were floating around, and a lot of us were really scared that they were just going to get up there and say, hey, everything's great, with no actual plan to back it up. So I think that given what we got, it looks like we're in actually pretty good hands. Let's hope that they execute this plan that they have in place and that things are going great moving forward. But that's kind of where I'm at. And obviously, guys, as you can see, this is going to work a little bit different than our usual thoughts on that I do. It's not going to be as highly edited, but we're going to try to put on a good little show here for you regardless. So I'm very excited to start talking about this stuff, because right from the get-go, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy gets on stage, which it's been a little while since she's really opened a panel up for Star Wars Celebration, at least before The Last Jedi. And so I was very surprised to see her. Not really surprised, I should say, because I know that there's been the reports swirling around about her job being on thin ice and stuff. So it makes sense that she does want to be the first one up there to try to roll out these announcements. But she also, you know, kind of got up there with the hosts as well, and which was pretty cool, because the videos that I have seen of it, like, the host seems like he did a pretty good job moving things along. And honestly, I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning, my time, to try to get these reports, you know, looked at. And honestly,
you're a better man than me.
Honestly, though, it paid off, though, because they really did do a good job at keeping the reports going. It was like once it started, it just didn't stop. And that was a really fascinating thing about this year as opposed to last year, where I felt like once things started, we were kind of waiting a long time in between updates, you know, last year. And so I liked the pacing of this year's panel for the opening. And just the fact that a lot of the stuff we were hearing was very exciting, you know, was another part of that. So that was a big deal too to me. But I'm so excited to get into this stuff, man. So let's just get started, because they did open with the Andor panel today, and I was really interested to see what they would actually talk about. You know, obviously we know we're not going to get season 2 till next year. That's been out there, and they kind of reiterated that today. But I did love that Diego Luna kind of went out and, you know, he was the one that said, okay, here's the footage. And then they showed Star Wars Celebration people the footage, and the reports that we're hearing out of that is that the footage is extremely intense and it sounds amazing. Tony Gilroy, who I half expected to come up there and say that he's taken over Lucasfilm. I'm not going to lie to you. It was getting a little worrisome for me. Not that I wouldn't want him to do it. He might be the man for the job, but that was just one thing. It would have been a little awkward had he gotten up there and mentioned that. I was kind of half expecting it because he was the first one out there, but he kind of went over the fact that they are halfway done shooting this thing. He's kind of calling this the second half of the story of what we saw in season 1, which I thought was a really interesting take to look at it. It's really Andor, he's looking at this as two halves of one story, and I really enjoyed that. This will be the final season, and we're getting it in fall of 2024. There's a lot to kind of break down there, Jose, but what do you think of all this?
I mean, yeah, this Andor, I did hear that and see where there's already people, I've seen those people there that post these videos out there on Reddit and stuff like that that eventually get taken down and stuff. Yeah. There are people already posting the Andor season 2 teaser trailer that they got during Celebration.
Right.
And I did get to watch it. And it looks
Looks good.
I'm really excited. I honestly can't wait. It looks like they're gonna it's gonna be really intense. It's gonna be a lot more of Mon Mothma and Cassian, Luthen as well, of course, and just them three trying to basically get one over on the Empire.
Awesome.
And so I honestly can't wait. I'm glad that everyone's back and that we're getting another season of the show as it should. I'm ready to see where season 2 takes us with these characters that we've grown and seen in the first season that we still have. I'm honestly super excited. I can't wait. It's great stuff.
Yeah, and before the mouse comes and gets Jose and drags him off the show for checking out the leak, I do want to also say one of the big tweets that we saw going around as well after this footage dropped was Rebellion Rising, and I love those words right there because that is exactly what we want. It sounds like Tony Gilroy understands the assignment, and I have no doubt that he's going to deliver something on par, if not better, than that first season. So this is sounding incredibly great to me. I love that all the cast is up there. I mean, this is one of those things. Andor went off without a hitch when that production was going, and so I have full faith. As many delays as Lucasfilm has seen in these past 5 or past years. Let's be real here. I mean, these past 5 years have been littered with delays and cancellations from Lucasfilm. Andor is one of those things. I am extremely confident it's going to happen on time. Fall of 2024, you guys can expect it. That first one went off without a hitch. So this isn't me trying to shill out for Disney. I'm being honest about that. Like the Andor, I genuinely expect will happen. So let's just keep on rolling here because this next one is the thing that they should have talked about last year. I'm glad they brought it in this year, and that is the Acolyte. And we do have a nice logo there. It's very new. It's very fresh. We haven't seen this logo yet, and they do tend to update the logos pretty much as they go with these things. But we got some pretty interesting bombs dropped on us from this panel. First of all, oh gosh, I can't remember the actor's name, and I'm so freaking sorry, but he had talked about he was going to be a Jedi Master. I probably should have written that down somewhere, but he had talked about he was going to be a Jedi Master. But we also, on top of it, it's the one from Squid Game. So that's to give you some preface there. Yeah,
okay.
So he's going to be
the main actor from Squid Game.
He's going to be a Jedi Master, and so while he reveals that, we did have Daphne King come out right there at the end. One of the things that I really love that she kind of went over is the fact that she is going to be wielding a lightsaber. To me, that says Sith all the way, man. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Daphne Keen's a Sith in this thing? She didn't say what she was, but she's wielding a lightsaber, so.
I mean, could be, possibly. I feel like all I know is that there's going to be a lot of lightsabers in this show. I did read that we're going to be getting a yellow lightsaber in this show as well, so it'll be really interesting to see who's wielding that one.
As per the footage that they showed, so that's confirmed.
Right.
I mean,
Right, yeah. The tweet confirmed that was announced that there will be a yellow lightsaber in Acolyte. Maybe she's the one wielding the yellow lightsaber, who knows?
Who knows, yeah, they didn't really clear that up.
Yeah, so the possibilities are endless, honestly.
The other thing I loved is that panel, it opened up, though, with Amanda Stenberg, who's show running this thing or creating this thing, and she came out with a Wookiee, and we had no idea who this Wookiee was. We just knew it was a Wookiee Jedi, and then lo and behold, it's going to be Jonas Chewbacca himself came out and said he's playing that Wookiee Jedi, and I love this guy. I think he is just fantastic. You can tell he has true passion for the fan base. Number one, he really cares about this fan base, and I love that. Every time I see him, he loves Star Wars. He just wants to play in this world, and for him to get another shot at playing a Wookiee, not Chewbacca in this instance, but a Wookiee Jedi, which to me could be even cooler. I mean,
he's really done justice to Chewbacca.
Yeah,
honestly,
he did a great job in those sequels. Say what you will, but
oh yeah, he played an amazing Chewbacca, and I'm happy that he is our Chewbacca because he's just so good at playing Chewbacca, and I can't wait to see him in here playing a Wookiee Jedi. Like, that's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, and this lines up with a lot of that High Republic lore that I've been reading too, which is another thing I love. I mean, Wookiee Jedi.
I'm wondering if this is gonna be. I'm wondering if he's gonna be the like older version of the Wookiee Jedi we saw in Bad Batch.
It would be younger, but it wouldn't be. He wouldn't be alive yet. He wouldn't be born yet at High Republic time, but so no. But I do like the idea of him playing this. And you know, if you read the High Republic stuff, like Wookiee Jedi, that's not a rarity in this timeline. So it just makes so much sense. So to me, that says Amanda Stenberg, she is not Amanda Stenberg, I'm sorry, Leslie Headland is running the show. Amanda Stenberg is the main actress who was
the
also
main actress,
there.
right?
Leslie Headland, I get their names mixed up, is the, you know, it shows me she's paying attention to this stuff. She's reading these High Republic books. She knows what needs to go into this to make it a true High Republic series. Yes, she talked about lightsabers a lot. She talked about her father's love for Star Wars and how it introduced her to Star Wars. And I just loved everything that she had to say at this panel, man. I mean, she really feels like a true fan. Leslie Headland is a very popular showrunner. A lot of people love her for Russian Doll. Apparently she did a great job with that show. I'm very excited to see what she did here. And this all sounds pretty amazing. And it sounds like the production's almost wrapped. We are going to get this in 2024. And we could probably expect Q1 of 2024 from what it's sounding like. That's not confirmed, obviously, but it's sounding like Q1 2024. This thing's going to be done this year. So that's super exciting. I was happy to hear that update. So pretty fantastic. Great stuff. And then the panel I was most nervous about happened right after this, and that was the Mandalorian panel. And I was super nervous, man, because I was like, how are they going to clear up? Because they really are coming up off the most divisive episode they've had yet. There are people that really liked it, but a lot of outrage about it too. And I was wondering how they were going to clear that up. And I got to be honest, man, this is the one thing. I mean, they didn't really deliver. I mean, to be fair to them, they did give us teases of what's to come, for sure, without a doubt, and that's what they're supposed to do, and they gave us a little tease of that. They mentioned Moff Gideon would be in the next episode, which is something we've all been waiting on, and I had also heard that from other sources as well, that he would be coming very soon in the season before this. And the other part of that, though, that I really didn't like is Rick Famuyiwa gets on stage, and he is a producer of the season, so it is his responsibility for sure, but he talked about this is the resolution for The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, the end of the season. These next two episodes will be the resolution to that. And to me, he might as well have gotten up there, and maybe I'm reading into this wrong, but he might as well have gotten up there and said, hey, you know, we're pretty much out of ideas, so we want to resolve this story. That's kind of how it feels to me, and that's how this season's been feeling. Is like they're making it up as they go along. They're kind of out of things to do with this character.
I mean, that's fair.
And Grogu. That's been my feeling, especially after this last episode, and it really made me like the rest of the season a little less, because now it really does feel like they're kind of making things up as they go. I know that there was definitely a wrench thrown in the plan, for sure. I know Book of Boba Fett was probably demanded on them, and they probably didn't want to do it. The other part of this that probably threw a wrench in there was the Gina Carano situation. They had to cancel Rangers, probably taking some of the Rangers of the New Republic stories they had planned, trying to incorporate those into The Mandalorian, and then trying to move on with Grogu when this was probably originally supposed to be the story of how they got Grogu back, and that was supposed to be fleshed out. So I understand the complications. I'm not mad at the creators necessarily, but I also think that they didn't really deliver anything to get us a lot more hyped about this season of The Mandalorian to me, except for Moff Gideon, and I do hope these last two really deliver. I mean, but to hear the words resolution to me is very sad, and contradicts the fact that Jon Favreau was like, look, I got, you know, season 4 and 5, they're written, they're ready to go. He just said that not too long ago in an interview. And so to me, this is a huge contradiction on that. So I'm just wondering what happened behind the scenes that kind of put a wrench in that plan. I don't know, and it's interesting, man.
I mean, at this point, what hasn't happened behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
yeah.
At this point, I mean, this has lifted my spirits up a little more for Star Wars, but at the same time, my spirits are pretty low to begin with Star Wars. So it's like,
yeah, but it's like, it's that thing of.
I feel like these three movies that Kathleen has announced were kind of forced. at the same time.
We'll
Like,
get
yeah,
into
they're
that.
cool.
Save that because I have thoughts. But yeah, I mean, and the other part of this too was, you know, it feels like we have to say goodbye to the Mandalorian, which, you know, causes a little sadness for me because it's not the Mandalorian, but it's at least going to be goodbye to this iteration of the Mandalorian that we've come to know and love, and the things that to me made the show so fantastic in the first place. If they do more seasons down the line, I do hope they have a really good plan in place, but it makes this season just feel like insignificant, and all it's doing is acting as a bridge to go to the next iteration of whatever this show's going to become. And that's a bummer to me, because they did make us wait such a long time for this one, and coming off the heels of season 2, it does not compete with season 2. I don't care if you like it or not.
No. This
is not nearly on the level of what season 2 had delivered us, so it's definitely been a bummer in that sense, without a doubt. So I'm holding out hope. I hope these last 2 they made something really special, and that it's going to be really good. So I'm waiting on it, and I hope it's as epic as we all want it to be. But we'll see what happens, man. But the next thing that we talked about got me so much more excited than I've ever been for this show, and that is Skeleton Crew. I am super excited for Skeleton Crew now. So let's talk about this a little bit and why I'm so much more excited. Number one, let's just take a look at this image right here. That looks awesome. I mean, the filmmaking is not going to be an issue in this show. I can tell you right now. Look at that visual. It just looks incredible. It's got Jude Law and these kids, and they went over the fact, you know, they talked about a little bit how they really want this to have this old-time Amblin Spielberg feel. They want it to feel like the Goonies, and I really like that. Well, first thing I thought of was, didn't we try that in Rise of Skywalker? But that's more of a failed attempt of trying to reference the Goonies, as opposed to this could be a really good attempt. I mean, it sounds like that they have a clear goal in mind as to what they're going to do with the show. I was surprised to hear, I don't think they announced a release for this one, so that shocked me, first of all, because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to come out by the end of the year, but they didn't have an official date yet, to my knowledge. You can double check me on that, but, you know, to me, it's like, this sounds really cool at the same time. Like, I'm excited for the
no release date, but it's still just supposed to come out sometime this year.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just surprised they don't at least have the month in place yet. So that worries me a little bit.
Like with Ahsoka.
Right. Yeah, that worries me a little bit. But the other thing about that is the fact that they do kind of have this sort of way of doing things where they're trying to tie this into the Mandalorian, and what I don't want is for this to feel kind of forced in there, but I don't think it's going to be, and I'll tell you why, because they did talk about, or Jon Favreau talked about, he was pitched this back when John Watts was doing Spider-Man Far From Home. Wow, because that's news to me, but it's crazy how far back this thing goes, you know, that this idea, the conception of this thing was done way back then. But I'll tell you another thing that actually gets me really excited is this image right here. And you look at this kid with this like nose plug thing going on. It really reminds me of Dune, a lot of this imagery that they showed us. And I like that Dune inspiration kind of coming into this too. They did have the kids come out and talk, and apparently that went over really well also. But here's the biggest piece of news that I think we got is the confirmed directors for Skeleton Crew. First of all, John Watts we knew would probably direct an episode or two, so that's obviously a given there because he is creating the series. David Lowery, dude, I've been calling it. I've been calling for it for a long time. It's finally happened. If you followed us for any length of time, you guys know I've been asking for David Lowery to do a Star Wars already, because I think he just would fit the role so well, and somebody heard me out there and made it happen. Now we also have the Daniels, who are just coming off their Best Picture win for Everything Everywhere All at Once, so that's super exciting as well. That is an awesome pair of directors right there. I love everything they do. They are some of the most original people working today. Jake Schreier, I don't care what anybody says. I love Paper Towns. I thought that was a really fun little romantic comedy.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, he directed Paper Towns, and he's going to be directing Thunderbolts for Marvel upcoming. And I think the guy's really good, personally. So I don't care what anybody says. I know Paper Towns gets hate. I thought that was a really charming little film. It's a really good sort of dramedy, if you will. Bryce Dallas Howard, obviously.
Jeez.
Bryce Dallas Howard,
great director.
amazing. Obviously, the last episode, again, controversy for her. But hey, it's one bad day at the office. I think we can get past that, and I still think she's a fantastic director. And given
I honestly don't even think I don't even think that episode was her fault.
Exactly, given her the right story, she can thrive.
Yeah. Because I mean, her directing was so great, like really good for that episode. It's just the writing and like the story that happened in that episode just wasn't the one.
Yeah, and then the other one we got is Oscar-nominated director here. You can see far to the right there, Lee Isaac Chung, who directed Minari, and he has my favorite episode of this season of Mandalorian as well. So I want to throw that out there too. I think that guy is always trying to do original and different things, and I think Bryce Dallas Howard, man, I can only imagine she feels incredibly proud to be working with this caliber, this group, and because this is these are high caliber filmmakers that they got from us. Yeah, and this is sounding like it's shaping up to be pretty cool, man. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I'll let you kind of give your thoughts on this.
I mean, just the caliber of directors alone that's going to be directing this show, I am even more excited than I was for this show, because I mean, even just hearing that Jude Law was going to be in the show had me excited.
Yeah.
But now, with the announcement of all the directors that are going to be working on this, I'm even more excited. I can't wait. I think this and Ahsoka are going to be like the two best things to come for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I honestly cannot. I'm super excited, super stoked, and I can't wait to see what Skeleton Crew does for the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. And Jude Law, man, I mean, he's having a moment right now. To me, saving grace of those Fantastic Beasts movies in a big way. I mean, like, you look at Jude Law, I mean, he is just an incredible talent. You can put him anywhere. It could be the worst movie in the world, but he will be good. He will always stand out, and he's always kind of
he's probably guys. He's probably had there's probably been a couple of those.
There's definitely been a couple of those, and he's done some, lower caliber projects where they didn't turn out so great, and he was always a standout, though. It just doesn't matter what you put him in. You remember his role, and I love that about him, and I think that putting him in Star Wars it's a bigger deal than I think people realize for him to have signed on to this. It must be a pretty good pitch, I would imagine, for him to do Star Wars, but I mean, who knows, man? I mean, but the premise definitely sounds good, of this sort of Goonies style
100%
in Star Wars. And I trust John Watts, man. We saw he is approached to Spider-Man, man. He approached that with a plan. When you get through that trilogy, you realize that whole thing from the very beginning, you bring it full circle. His Spider-Man trilogy was a plan. He did a very good job at that. But let's move on, because this is one of the most exciting parts I think we definitely had here. Was definitely this Ahsoka panel. Look at that poster right there, man. I mean, that alone was enough to get me crazy stoked. I was super excited just about the poster alone. So we get this poster. It's amazing. I'm gonna hang that on my wall. You better believe it'll be here very soon.
Oh yeah, bro. It's going up right here where all my other posters are, bro.
Absolutely. That poster, it's one of my favorite Star Wars posters. They've released it a little bit since the Last Jedi teaser poster. I would say that is my favorite Star Wars poster, because that Last Jedi teaser poster is dope too. I have it back there. But look, that thing is awesome, and that was enough. But then you kind of move on, and it's like, okay, here comes these images, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're throwing out so much here. We have Ahsoka Tano, which we've seen that Ahsoka image before, but then the Sabine one, holy shit, that is so Sabine to me. I am so excited to see that come into play. That is the scene from Rebels, I'm pretty sure, coming into live action from the Rebels epilogue. And then we have Hera there flying the ghost, who is actually going to be played. It is confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, by Mary Elizabeth
Winstead
herself. And then they announced the trailer. They dropped the trailer, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. Before we even talk about that trailer overall, Jose, what do you think of just the images, the poster? I mean, how's this making you feel?
I'm telling you, bro, this is my most anticipated Star Wars. For that, of what's going to come soon is my most anticipated. Like,
absolutely.
I've been ever since this was announced that Dave Filoni was going to helm this, or Jon Favreau. I mean, they work together on this, obviously, because like Dave Filoni oversees everything. But I mean, yeah, when Ahsoka series was going to be announced, and it was going to be like based on like events of Rebels and stuff, I was like, yeah, this is exactly what we needed. Was basically a live action Rebels.
It's series. A Rebel sequel. That's exactly what it is. It's continuing the story. But go ahead.
honestly can't wait. Because Rebels was just amazing, and to get a live action sequel of it with Rosario Dawson and all these other incredible actors and actresses. I mean, I'm just over the moon excited for this series, honestly. And obviously, I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to say that the trailer got me even more excited.
We'll talk about that here in a minute too, really quick. But just let's talk about this. I want to bring this back up because this was enough for me
100%,
to just say
100%.
This production looks incredible. I mean, look at these shots here. They look really good. I'm excited to see who all the directors are that Filoni has for this one because
true.
We're not sure on that yet, but I know we know Bryce is on there. I'm pretty sure that's been announced, but we don't know who else is going to be directing on the series. But anyway, outside of that, dude, this just looks incredible alone. And then the trailer, and we're going to do a breakdown a little bit later today, guys, so just keep an eye out for that. But then the trailer comes out, and the trailer blows everybody away. And this is one we got publicly, so we've seen it, obviously. It's one of the best Star Wars trailers I've seen in a long time. It really is.
That is for sure.
Yeah, everything it's setting up, the sort of cherry picking from the Legends, those Heir to the Empire books. I mean, obviously it'll be a loose sort of, adaptation of that, but it's kind of picking from those just ever so slightly here. They mentioned it in the trailer. The words heir to the Empire are said. So we know where the source material that they're using to cherry pick from the Legends stuff. So I really like to see how all that's going to come to fruition. I mean, Thrawn and all these other things, and we got pretty much the shots of these characters again. I mean, it's mind blowing. Yeah, Jose's going to spaz out if he doesn't start talking about this. So go ahead. Yeah. Oh, by the way,
trailer was
dark Force users with red lightsabers. Come on. I mean, all right, go ahead. I had to mention that.
That's what I mean. Like, oh my gosh, bro. Yeah. I just cannot wait. Because another cool thing is going to be, which we didn't get in the teaser trailer, but I'm assuming we'd get in the actual trailer, in the actual official trailer, is Hayden Christensen playing Anakin Skywalker in this series, which I honestly am super excited for. Can't wait. This trailer, I've seen it like 7-8 times already. It absolutely blows my mind every single time I watch it. It's like I'm watching it for the first time every single time I watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you said, the Thrawn stuff, I mean, I honestly can't wait for that. Like, that's going to be some incredible stuff right there. His story and everything like that. Like, man, I can't wait.
And he just looks so great in the trailer too, man.
Oh,
for the little bit that we see, it's Thrawn. Like, the presence is there, and
you could feel that it's Thrawn.
That's a good thing that you pointed out there. You could feel it, man. Like, throughout this trailer, you could feel a looming threat, and that's something I feel like that's been lacking in Star Wars things for a little bit here, is this looming threat. And also, we're going to have lightsaber action. And a lot of people, when I used to talk about Andor, and I used to say things like, I'm glad we're getting away from lightsabers for a little bit. People were like, oh, you hate lightsabers. No, nothing like that. This should show you, I'm so excited about this series. I love lightsabers as much as you guys do. It was fresh to get away from it in Andor for sure, because we had so much of it, but now we're getting it back in full force, and I am just as excited as the rest of the fans about this. Trust me, I cannot wait to have this full-fledged lightsaber action Star Wars show. It's
gonna be some of the best lightsaber stuff that we have seen.
It really looks like
in a very long time.
Yeah. There are things that are done by Ahsoka in the trailer that I'm just so stoked to see in live action.
I mean, the first scene in the trailer was.
That was enough to give me chills. Hairs are still standing up on my arms, by the way. I mean,
same. I mean, same.
Yeah, chills down my body for sure on that one, man. I don't know how else to put it. So, the next thing they did to kind of wrap up the Star Wars stuff, and we will be doing an Indiana Jones trailer reaction today, guys, so look out for that too. We're not going to talk about Indy here. Today's just for this thing is just for Star Wars, but
the movies, baby.
Something else they did. Well, first of all, they put up this timeline, which is something I love. This, to me, shows that they are planning things, right? Now they have their timelines. They have Dawn of the Jedi, the Old Republic, the High Republic, Fall of the Jedi, Reign of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, the New Republic, Rise of the First Order, and then if you see to the right there, empty space, right? And so everybody's like, all right, movie time, right? Because we'd heard the rumors that we were going to get movies that took place post Rise of Skywalker era, whether that be new characters or whatever. And then they pretty much started talking about. I watched the video of this and it gave me chills, dude. I mean, they were talking about they want to usher in a new generation of Jedi that comes after the First Order era, and they were basically like, okay, but who is going to usher this in? And the director of the next movie, who also was one of the directors on Captain Marvel, she said, I'll tell you exactly who. And then the John Williams Rey theme starts playing, and she comes walking in. People went really nuts.
Bro,
dude.
People went ape shit.
There she is right there, looking super excited to come back. I'm excited that she's going to be back. This is exciting, dude. I mean, this is the biggest bomb they dropped. I mean, honestly, the whole thing.
I mean, a Rey movie taking place 15 years after the rise of
15
Skywalker.
Years. That's the other thing that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm really hoping we get this thing by 2025. But that thing, this sounds incredible, dude. I mean, from a standpoint of we have a real chance here to give some redemption for the people that didn't like the sequels, but also please the people that did at the same time. And I think that
having her train the next Order of Jedis.
The fact
basically taking over for Luke and what he was trying to do.
I mean, we're essentially getting a Jedi Academy project. They didn't really call it that, but that's
what I mean. It's like, it's basically what Luke tried to do, but now Rey's going to be doing it.
Right. We're getting an actual Jedi Academy project, which is so high in demand. And I hope the people that, the Rey haters out there can at least, take solace in the fact that we are getting a Jedi Academy project and how exciting that is. And let's hope for the best, man. I mean, I really do hope that this is amazing. And again, let me bring up the timeline photo, because to me, this is actually what instilled more hope in me, this panel or this celebration, than anything else, is the fact that they are actually giving labels to these timelines. Dawn of the Jedi, dude. That means they are planning things for the dawn of the Jedi. That is really incredible to see. And then you look into how that goes into Old Republic. That means they are planning things for Old Republic, which is high in demand, running right into the High Republic here. And then Fall of the Jedi, which we have plenty of content in. Reign of the Empire, we have plenty of content for that now. Age of Rebellion, New Republic.
In that Reign of the Empire, I really hope that we get some Darth Plagueis the Wise stuff, honestly, because
Reign of the Empire, we wouldn't get anything in Reign of the Empire for Plagueis. You're looking all the way back to Old Republic for that, I would imagine.
All right, well, in there, then. I mean, because another thing that was confirmed, at least for Filoni, because I know Dave Filoni's making a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, so Dave Filoni, what we're looking at here for Filoni is he's going to operate in the New Republic here, which is basically where Mandalorian and everything has been operating anyway. Ahsoka's going to operate within that.
And I read that he's going to be pulling from Legend stuff for his movie,
which he already is for Ahsoka. So it makes sense.
True.
And after seeing this Ahsoka trailer, so let me explain my thoughts on the Filoni thing. Okay, I'm of two minds. Number one, Filoni, him having a movie. First of all, I'm happy for him. Just first and foremost, I'm happy for him. He has worked hard to try to get to this point of making a live action movie. The other part of me, though, is this a play just to please the fans? You know what I mean? Like are they just doing that because Filoni's a popular name with the fans, and not so much because they think he's the best guy for the job? And so I if he's gonna get a movie, I hope he got it for the right reasons, is my point. I hope Ahsoka really delivers that much that he just deserves the movie. You know what I mean? I hope we watch Ahsoka and it's it makes so much sense that he's doing a movie. You know what I mean?
I wonder if he's going to, I'm wondering what books he's going to pull from, because I've got a lot of them here.
Oh, I mean, I would imagine it's going to be the Heir to the Empire stuff, he is going to be for Ahsoka, that whole, Thrawn trilogy, because that was the biggest thing about his movie, is it's going to be the culmination of all of these shows they've been producing, him and Favreau, between, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, all these. It's going to be the culmination of all of it, so that is something that I'm just super looking forward to with that one. And then another huge bomb gets dropped on us right after that, a third movie, which we had heard three movies right before this. We'd heard three movies, but no clue that James Mangold would have done one. The Filoni rumors were kind of swirling before this, but Mangold was a huge bomb. I am super excited about this. I cannot wait to see what James Mangold does with Star Wars. This better not get canceled, delayed, anything. I swear to God.
I'm telling you, man. I bet you these three won't see the light of day for a very long time.
Yeah.
She was just announcing 3 things to save her ass.
Let me tell you something. When I watched Ford v Ferrari, James Mangold's film, Ford v Ferrari, I watched that movie like, I bet you George Lucas loves this. Like, when I first saw that movie, I didn't think about him doing Star Wars necessarily per se, but it has that Lucasfilm feel to it, Ford v Ferrari. And I think he's just really got that down. He knows that how to capture that feeling that Lucasfilm had. You know what I mean?
That is fair.
And even in Logan, even though that's like on the darker side of his movies, like Logan has that sort of. It's just a very compelling mythology.
Logan is just like Logan's just such a good movie, honestly.
Yeah, still brings in that compelling mythology, and to me, if they are doing things right, if they're not just handing out jobs to people to make us happy, that means that they really have a lot of confidence in Indiana Jones. Like, they think he did a really bang up job on that they gave him a Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So to me, this is just exciting for Indy as well, to kind of hear that they're giving him a Star Wars. I'm hoping that this sees the light of day, man. I can't wait. And this is very exciting stuff. Please, we need a lock on these movies, man, because these 3 things. This is a dream, dude. I mean, these 3 things sound like the best 3 scenarios for movies. You know what I mean? I couldn't have thought of anything better, honestly. That also makes me more skeptical about
obviously them ever happening anytime soon.
Yeah, the follow through is the tough part always.
Yeah,
but you know, I do want to bring up no mention of Taika's movie. So. Is that
I think that's gonna be shelved.
I think it's dead. I think
that thing is way dead in the water.
Yeah, I think we can honestly say it's dead. All right, look, this is a win for Lucasfilm today. I think we could agree on that. Like, today was a win. This is one of the biggest wins they've had in a while. Was today. They need to follow through, and they need to. They cannot fuck up. Pardon my French. They can't lose, man. You can't take the L. You gotta take the W. You gotta follow through. Lock this in. You know what I mean? You cannot. None of these projects can fall. And you know what I liked about today? Speaking of that, the other thing that instills just a little bit more hope in me that this stuff is going to follow through and see the light of day. It wasn't an overabundance of things. It felt like a normal amount of announcements. Do you know what I mean? Like, they had that.
Even though, I mean, because I remember last celebrations, we just had one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. Whereas today was really just like an announcement here, and then a couple hours later, another announcement here.
The reason we had that, though, the reason we had that last celebration, though, or at least anticipating the more confirmation on those things, is because of what happened at that Disney Investors Day like 4 years ago or whatever, when she was just thing after thing after thing after thing after thing, and it was like
that's why I feel like the last celebration it almost felt forced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this felt like a real It felt like a real, a normal pace of announcements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel. It feels like an actual slate for once.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I do like how it's like, okay, so Mando's gonna end. It's gonna wrap up the Book of Boba Fett story arc and this iteration of Mando, and then that's gonna lead into Ahsoka, which is gonna connect to Filoni's movie. You know what I mean? And then on the other side of it, on the other side of the timeline, that's why I love that timeline image so much. On the other side of the timeline. Rise of Skywalker is going to connect into this whatever Daisy Ridley movie's coming, you know what I mean? And then on the other side, the whole other side of it, we also have the Acolyte on this part of the timeline. So there is something for each part of the timeline. It feels like they thought.
And then you also got the Skeleton Crew one.
Yeah.
Which is on like its own.
Right, yeah, I'm sorry. So like Ahsoka will lead into Skeleton Crew, which will lead into Filoni's movie and all that. So it feels like they put up this timeline image and they have something for all ends of it that's going to connect into the timeline, everything. Yeah. And so for me, this feels like they've thought this through. It doesn't feel forced.
And they also have more stuff planned for future timelines as well.
Exactly.
That they've announced.
Which they should not announce. Don't roll it out till this stuff is out.
No,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm glad they have ideas. Get them cooking. But let's not hear anything about those until this stuff is done. My only question now is,
why the next year's celebration has been canceled. That's my only question.
Probably for that reason. They want to like focus on these projects and get them out and make sure that they get done, I would hope. And let's hope that's the reason, you know what I mean? Because that would be fantastic, you know, if they just roll these out and just get them done, man. And then I think the year after, maybe we'll see another one, you know, and they'll start talking about the movies. We'll get movie trailers at that one. And that would be fantastic.
And maybe we'll be at that one. I'm just kidding.
Let's hope so. I mean, seriously, man, that's one I would really want to go to, dude. I would love to go to the panel for the Daisy Ridley movie or whatever movie, Filoni's movie, hopefully, or you know, maybe Ahsoka season 2 at that point. We'll see what the plan is with that. You know what I mean? That might lead into Filoni's film.
Andor season 3, or actually, I don't know if that's gonna get a season 3.
Let's end it at 2, but, like they said though, because I don't want them to overcook it, man. I want these projects to be the focus. Let's focus on these and not get ahead of it. You know, that's what I want. This excites me. So. I hope the rest of the celebration
could it be like Skeleton Crew season 2 or Vision season 3?
You have no idea
Bad
though.
Bad Batch season 3.
Bad Batch season 3 might be one that we can look forward to, obviously, or it is one we can look forward to. We know that's gonna come. It was pretty much set up at this point, so that will happen on the back burner. But dude, I'm just really at this point. I'm looking forward to tomorrow and learning a lot more details on this Ahsoka series.
And we're gonna be up. We're gonna be up early tomorrow.
We'll be up early tomorrow. I was today, so I can do it tomorrow, man. I'm super hyped, everybody.
And I probably could have. I just didn't put an alarm early enough yesterday. But I mean, I'll definitely be up tomorrow.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Look, all right, it's a great day to be a Star Wars fan. Let's end this one. I'm loving everything, and we will talk to you guys later.